Creating a contract without a quotation. Generally, a contract will be created on receipt of an order against a quotation that was presented to a client. This will then enable purchase orders to be placed and timesheets entered, variations to orders created, and manufacturing scanning codes created for each bill item. However, this may not always be the case. It might be that one of your regular clients has asked for you to start work before a quotation has been produced, or that you will just bill the client once works are completed or are being carried out. Or it might be that you're not yet using the estimating part of the system. If this is the case, there's the option to create a contract without having a quotation to generate it from. By going to Departments, Production, Contracts, Create Contract Without Quotation. You'll then be able to set up the general details for the contract. So we could give it the project name, Commerce House Reception Area, and the name of the customer. We select whose attention or our main contact for this client is. We then need to say what sales area it is located in, the Northwest, contract type, supply and installation, the source of inquiry, i.e. where did we get the inquiry from, or the contract, we say it's an existing customer. From a campaign, this would generally be used in the sales when you're preparing a quotation to say where did we get the inquiry from. It might have been an advert in a magazine or something like that, so it's not really relevant in this situation. The project type, we'll say that it's a refurbishment. Certification type, we'll say it's a standard contract, and the classification, we will say it's a private job. And now we need to enter the site details. If I know the full details, I can type them in, or if I only have the post town at this point, I can put that in. But generally speaking, if we're starting to carry out the works now, we need the full address. So I will just load in the address from the system. I have an area for site notes, so we might say there's room for one skip car park. We then have the option to attribute our QS contract manager setting out and site foreman if we want to. If we don't know at this point, we don't have to, we can leave it blank. It doesn't have to be filled in. I might be able to say, okay, Adrian is going to be our QS contracts manager. I'll put myself down as that. Setting out and processing, I might not know who's going to do that yet. Similarly, the site foreman. By default, it will say it's been issued to contracts, i.e. I've now made a contract today, but I can change that date retrospectively if I wanted to. The contract start date, when the contractor is on site, when we're on site. So we'll say, well, the contractor's on site now, but we're not required to be on site until the 2nd of July, and we're hoping to complete by the 23rd of July, so we've got a 3-week contract. I then must say who I'm going to invoice, because I'm now entering into a contract. Obviously, I need to say who I'm going to send the bill to, and I will just load it. It's going to be the customer address. This field here, invoice company, is linked to the main address database, so you could tie it to any company within the system. Then the other thing I need to add in is the customer's purchase order. It might not be that I've been given a physical purchase order because we haven't raised a quotation. It might have been just an email or a verbal phone call, but I just need to make some notation as to how we got the order. So we'll say it's verbal on the 17th of today. And you'll notice here the latest quote number is blank because we haven't done a quotation for it. So once we've got all these details set up, we can then click OK, and the contract is now in operation. So I will be able to generate purchase orders, timesheets, and everything from that. If I go to departments, let's say we go to production, contracts, and contract details, and then pop in the new contract number 152. You'll see the details we've set up. The system is now able to generate a Q code for that. And I can then go to other areas of this. So I can look at the accounts screen. Obviously, we have no quotation. We have an area where you can have VOs and where our costs are going to be accrued. Now, what you need to be careful of is once you start placing purchase orders against a job and timesheets are entered, obviously your accrued costs are going to be shown in here against a zero contract value. So the system will show that you're making a loss. So what you will need to do at some point is to add in a variation to order with a client selling figure to balance your figures out. You can't create a quotation after you have created a contract. You must create the client figures by using variations to orders. We're then able to look at job costing. So we will see all the purchase orders and timesheets that have been attributed into the contract. Obviously, our labour comparison won't be applicable because we don't have a quotation to compare it to. We can then go to document register. So we've got access to all the areas of the contract. But obviously at this point, our bill items will be empty because we haven't got a quotation to generate it from. But once we start generating variations to orders with bill items, they will be shown in our bill item list. And that is all there is to generating a contract without a quotation.